Today we're talking about transformations of functions, and we're going to explore the different types of transformations that you can do on functions. So the first transformation that we're going to talk about are vertical shifts. Vertical shifts occur when you take some function like y equals x squared and you add some value or subtract some value to it, like we can see here with x squared minus 4. So when you add some value to your function, it's going to shift your function up k units, whatever the value of k is. If you're subtracting some value of k, it's going to shift it down that number of units. So if we're looking at this example, y equals x squared versus y equals x squared minus 4, this negative 4 is going to cause our graph to shift down 4 units. So if we're looking at this graph, all of these points are going to be shifted down 4 units. So 0, 0 is going to be at 0, negative 4. 1, 1 is going to be at 1, negative 3, and so on. So we can see those points happening there. And then you would just connect your curve, and that would be your new function. So that's with vertical shifts. If it was plus 4, instead of going down 4, you would go up 4. The key thing to recognize for a vertical shift is that the value of k is not being squared. It's not inside of our function, it's outside, it's externally. If you have something inside your function, that's going to cause it to be a horizontal shift. So if you have a function like y equals the function of x minus h or f of x plus h, that's going to cause some sort of horizontal shift. So x minus h is going to take our graph and shift it to the right h units. It's kind of counterintuitive. Normally when we see a minus something, we think that that should go left because that's where the negative numbers are. But what you have to think of is what would make this 0, right? So what values would make this 0? So if it was x minus 3, the value of 3 for x would make that 0. And that's why we go right. So if you have y equals f of x plus h, that's going to shift our graph left h units. So we saw in the last example, we have y equals the square root of x plus 3. So because this plus 3 is on the outside of our square root, it's going to take our graph and shift it up. So all of these points are going to go up 3 units. And it's going to look like this, right? So what does this plus 3 inside the square root do? Well, this plus 3 inside the square root takes this graph here in blue, and it's going to move it left 3 units. Because really what's happening is we're subtracting a negative h value, right? So this value here that would tell us which direction and how much to shift by is really a negative h. So it's still a subtraction here, but it's an opposite number. So since it's negative, it's telling us to go to the left. So we go left 3 units, and then we graph our curve.